doesn't want to play the video.
Nobody's streaming inside the house.
No. Here, I think I can actually, I think I can play it manually and then cut it out. Let's try this. Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. And today's episode is going to be littered with tech challenges. I'm just kidding. I hope it's not, but we have already had our fair share of them before starting recording. But we're talking about AI, ironically enough, which is deep in the tech world. So let's fingers crossed while we're recording and you're listening to this episode that everything goes well. But I have an awesome guest with me. We're going to talk about consumer behavior, leveraging AI in your business, and how to understand it as a small business owner a little bit better so you have an edge in the marketplace. Shahar Boyayan, welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Really glad to be here.
And thank you for your patience as well. I told you that I mentioned the tech issues. Sometimes they happen, and it is what it is. But thank you for being here. I'm excited to dive in. So we're talking AI, consumer behavior. Give me a sense of what it is you do in this blending of topics.
What I like to do is really observe human behavior. When we talk about AI and we talk about the future, people think that we are predicting what's going to happen 10 years from now. And actually, no, you are observing subtle changes in behavior. And that's what's happening with the consumer. Even AI is not a new topic. It has been around for a while, but now is the moment that the consumer is really getting to engage with that. Not only the devices that they have that play music, alarms, and things like that, but now we are getting used to be monitored, for example, from a watch. We are used to clap hands to turn on the lights or watch what we are going to stream tonight. All that is based on AI. So we are getting more and more comfortable doing that. With that, we are seeing a shift in our behavior as consumers. And what's important to business owners to understand is that once behavior changes, it does not go back. Let's take, for example, the last big change in behavior for us was during COVID, right? We all got isolated. We all started putting more value in the environment that we were in because we were forced to be there for a while. And all those shifts that happened, not only in the consumer behavior, but in the way we were doing business with the consumer, never went back once we got out of the houses, right? Now with AI, we are seeing an even bigger change happening in consumer behavior. And actually this year and the next year will be huge into that. So for the big companies, they are aware of what's happening and they are already experimenting with AI, so they will be fine. But the smaller business owner tends to have that behavior on, let's see what happens. Well, this time, if they do that, they will be left behind. So that's really the importance of, okay, what has really changed and what is changing and how can I adopt into that and adapt this new phase in my business life?
Yeah, I love that statement too. As behavior changes, it doesn't change back. That's like when friends of mine ask me if I want to go camping, I'm like, no, we've evolved past that. My behavior has changed. That was 2000 years ago. We don't need to do that anymore. That's an absurd example, of course. But, I think the other examples you gave, the COVID, even the financial crisis of 2008 in this country and most of the world, although they were sudden changes, the evolution of technology and behavior was relatively slow. All things considered. AI is the pace of evolution of the technology is actually hard to keep up with. So if business owners are waiting, I think this is what you're saying. If you're waiting to adopt and see what happens, you're going to be so far behind. It's going to be almost impossible to catch up. Am I hearing you say that correctly?
Yes. And, we cannot also freak out and think we have to adapt everything that we do to the current behavior, because, again, it's a fluid thing. For example, an example of a big company, that I think has the wrong move. For example, Netflix sent a memo to their writers saying that they need to dumb down the dialogues in their shows and use less visual, which is totally against movie making, right? But they did that because of a research showing that people, while they are watching a series, they are also scrolling the phone all the time. Because unfortunately, that is a behavior that most of us have adopted, right? We think we can multitask and we think we can pay attention to things which is not really, we are not wired for that. But because they stay on the phone all the time, they think they have to dumb down the plot. So there's not too much complicated dialogues or even images. I don't think that's the right approach to this, but that shows you that behavior has changed and companies are saying, okay, so how do I still grab the attention of this individual? Because my competition now became the cell phone, right? At the same time they are streaming. So we cannot freak out, but we also need to understand that the changes are here to stay. People are very addicted to their devices the whole day, and it's like the always fear of missing out something, so they think they need to be connected. At the same time, Brandon, we are isolating ourselves more and more as human beings because we are always paying more attention to a device or we are online. And now we can have virtual boyfriends. Meta is releasing the AI friends as well. So our friends will not disagree with us in political views, will not disagree with us in any type of things, which is interesting because, again, AI is here, quote, to serve you, but at the same time is going to create a human being that does not accept anything that is different than what they expect. Because if I can block my friends, I can have AI friends that only tell me what I want. When I go out in the world, I will be expecting the same kind of thing, which is not possible to happen, right? But creates a very interesting human being. And when do you see that? Well, you know those videos about all the tantrums people have inside airplanes? This is an example. They cannot deal with confrontation. They cannot deal with any kind of behavior that is controversial to what they expect. This causes issues and this causes adaptation as well in customer service.
I, you know, I don't even know where to go from there. I may live under a rock. I haven't heard about this. I haven't heard about the virtual friends and boyfriend thing.
Yeah,
Uh, and I'm just like, I'm shaking my head. That is the quickest path to de-evolution, basically.
it
We've
is
come so far.
dangerous. It is a dangerous moment if you think about it, because I mean, it's fun. I can have a boyfriend that only tells beautiful things about myself and, agrees with everything. By 2 months from now, I can have a humanoid robot that will clean the house and will also cook for me. It's all fine and dandy, and we are all going to experiment with that. But we need to exercise our critical thinking, what's real and what's not. Unfortunately, we already had some very bad outcomes about the boyfriend girlfriend scenario, especially with teenagers. It happened here in the US and it happened in Korea, that they start believing they are real. And unfortunately, the AI was always saying, come to me, I want you to stay with me. And they decided to go. So there is a bad side as well. And how do we protect ourselves is first by having critical thinking all the time, really questioning right now on everything that you see. Question, is it real or is it not? And the final decision needs to be mine, always mine, not allow that for the AI to do it. And understand that not everything can be according to what you want, because part of being a human being is actually exercising emotions, is it's having difficult conversations. That's a healthy thing and it cannot go away.
Absolutely. And that it's a very serious topic when you talk about loss of life because of, well,
Yeah.
because of anything, but in this case because of AI. That's very serious. And I also think of, on the flip side of this happened in real life, and this has happened several times. I'm thinking Kim Jong Un. I'm thinking Hitler in a very severe example. When you have unilateral thinking and nobody around you is disagreeing, it
Yeah.
is a very difficult and dangerous place to be in. So, yeah, I think this conversation needs to be had at a broader scale. But when we bring this back to consumer behavior and leveraging AI to both understand it and get in front of it, I don't think we should be dumbing down our message because our consumers are distracted. I think we need to find a better
Exactly.
way to engage with them. So, can you help me understand that from a small business perspective? How do we engage better with our ideal audience?
Well, one of the things with everything that we just put into context here is that when this human being gets out and go do business with anybody, can be a restaurant, hotel, class, whatever, they are expecting hyper personalization because it is all becoming about me. Not only because, again, I can have friends and boyfriends that are AI, I am catering all my house to please me all the time. So I am expecting hyper personalization. Businesses need to understand and adapt to that. So, for example, a restaurant can have an AI tracking the orders of their consumers. So, if Mary goes a second time to the restaurant, the AI will be able to say, "Hey, Mary, you had the Cajun fish last time. I think you like Cajun sauce. Why don't you try today the crab?" For example, right? It can also cater to what they now think it's important to them, because our the things that are important to us have been changing since, like you said, 2008, when we started thinking, I don't need a garage full of Christmas lights. I need things that matter. Well, this is evolving, right? So, for example, if you cater to the Gen X and the Gen Zers, they're very socially conscious. So if I have a menu and I click on the menu and it shows me the back end, how it's preparing the kitchen, where do you buy, you at the farmers market buying those things, the behind the scenes showing that you care and you buy locally and you care about the environment, whatever it is that your consumer thinks it's important, well, then you start having a connection that is on an emotional level. And once I sell to emotions, everything changes, because then it's not based in price anymore. It's not any competition that will take them away, because now we have created an emotional connection. So you have to think, and of course there are 10,000, I mean, thousands and thousands of different businesses, how you could do this in your business. Hyper-personalization, knowing, for example, when it's somebody's birthday. So simple today to have a CRM that will keep track of those and send them a card in the mail or send them a message in the email, just saying, hey, I know it's your birthday and I care about it. So that hyper-personalization can be done in any media that you have available to you. And we have many.
Yeah, I love the idea of hyper personalization. I think that's like good business 101. Anyone who's good at sales is understands that principle at its core,
Yeah.
and bringing that to a more a holistic business approach, making your whole business more connected to one-on-one individuals, your clients, also your employees. I don't want to rule that out,
Yeah.
but how do we bring AI into this conversation? Because that's very simple for me to understand. When you look at AI chatbots and customer service that's AI generated, I mean, AI can't understand emotion. And let me put a little pin in that, a little asterisk. Our head of AI at our company, uh, he may have some differing opinions, but we'll say broadly speaking, AI is not there yet fully to understand human emotions. Um, so, is there a disconnect when we're interacting with our clients and using AI? Because it's also really efficient. How do we bridge that gap?
I think it's changing so fast that it's even hard to prove. Yes, AI cannot understand emotions, but can be very empathetic when talking to
Mm,
people. For example, we did a test with a voice agent, right, where you call a funeral home. And you would be amazed on how that AI interact with the person,
wow.
understanding that there was a loss, right? AI has flaws. For example, ethics is a big issue. So it needs, and the reasoning is not there, but it's already there enough that it can become scary as well. So the change we are, if you talk to an AI voice, for example, 3 months ago, and you do this again today, your jaw will drop. You can hardly tell it's not a person. So it can show, and all that I said about the funeral home, that was not pre-programmed. We only told the voice AI that he was the customer service representative for a funeral home. Everything else he brought by itself, right?
Wow.
So it is really impressive. But yes, there are limits to what can be done, but that is changing so fast that I cannot tell you 6 months from now how it's going to be. But it can show empathy to a point,
Hmm.
right? And
No,
for the small business, I think that suffices at the moment, right? The important thing is that they are missing business for not answering every single phone call. They are missing business for not doing follow up as it should be done. Because yes, in theory, we understand what follow up is. Now, on the day to day, there are huge gaps, and those gaps is a lot of money that you leave on the table that you lose. Well, AI can do all the boring tasks that you can think of. It can do today. So it's like I call this the digital doppelganger. It can mimic me in several aspects. So it can answer all my emails. It can answer the phone. It can be there on the website 24/7, actually knowing what to do with that customer, not only answering basic questions. He knows when to offer a discount. He knows when to send to the phone or another medium. So it can do all the things that you think it's boring or repetitive in your business, and it can do very well if you have the right system in place.
yeah, I think that's the right way to look at it. Absolutely, is if it's going to make you more efficient, and you are set up with those systems
Yeah.
in place, then by all means, please. I'm curious. The last question I'll ask you before I let you go. I have a client right now who he's a small business owner, and I won't go into specifics for privacy reasons, but let's just say small business owner, small crew, doesn't have the bandwidth necessarily pick up all the phone calls and answer all the emails right away. My suggestion was that we implement some sort of an AI voice or AI email service so that we could at least engage with the potential clients very quickly, because that's a separate thing on consumer behavior. Speed wins, basically,
Yeah,
is the short
right.
version of that. He's resistant though because of things that you just covered, where well, it doesn't seem real, it doesn't seem personal. So could you walk me through a maybe the AI voice technology, a couple of services that you use and trust, and then also what's that last hurdle we need to get over in our head to actually implement this and start serving our clients at a higher level?
Let's start with the big hurdle, right? Sometimes we are interacting with AI in services that we use and we get frustrated. Understand that may be the system that they are using. There was a study from Harvard saying that 86% of consumers today actually prefer an automated system that takes them to the end result other than having small talk on a conversation. And,
Mm.
and I can tell you, I'm one of that. I hate talking on the phone and I hate small talk,
Small talk is the
right?
worst.
So, like, oh, how's the weather? What are you here? You're celebrating today. It's not your business. So let's move on. So you are not your customer. Understand that, right? And sometimes I interact with companies every single day, and sometimes they're very frustrating the way they are used. But the bottom line is, if your sales ticket, let's say it's 500 per customer, and you just miss 2 calls a day, that's $1,000 going down the drain. See how much it is at the end of the month. So it may not be perfect when you put it on the first time, but that's the beauty of that. It learns over time, and you can also program it so it gets better. So the way we do here is we create a basic AI for that business, and then we test and test and test and test to see where the adjustments should be. But the AI, don't forget, that's the beauty of that, will learn with time. So it's going to get better and better and better. Right now, not answering the phone is just money down the drain.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. Let's look at the not the cost of the system, but the opportunity cost of not having it
But the
is a
cost is not big.
brilliant.
You can have all the AIs I told you about for what, $300 a month,
Hmm.
right? So it's not a high cost for a small business. And that's the other thing, the perception that AI is complicated and AI is expensive. Well, it all depends, right? If you want a very robust system, there it may be, but for answering the phone, sending text messages, taking care of all the CRM in a way that has never been done before, well, it's like a fancy dinner with a girlfriend.
A
Not
fake one or a real one?
a good one, a real one.
A nice
Please,
dinner with a real girlfriend. You
please.
could save 50% on your dinners if you have an AI girlfriend. Um, that's a topic for a different day. Shahar, this was awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I have a link here. I'll toss it on the screen. where should the listener go if they want to learn more about you and how
So
to implement AI?
on proptalk.com, on this link, they can download the report. There I actually have 8 changes in behavior happening. And if they call the number, they can talk to an AI themselves. The AI will be trying to sell AI features to your business. So you can have a conversation and see how that goes. It's a great way to understand how it works.
Yeah, if nothing else, if you're curious, just go do that. Go see how you like the experience. And then if it's something that you believe you could implement in your business, well, I'm sure there's an option to just hit buy now when you're on the phone. Shahar, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
For those of you watching, listening, wherever you are, the link is on the screen if you're watching. It's also down below in the show notes, wherever you are watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe. We want to see you back tomorrow on another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where